Hi, welcome back. Deacon Rollie here again. As you're getting through your readings, one of the questions that probably enters into your mind is this: why do we need to study philosophy? And why do we need to know about the laws of Christian ethics anyway? What difference is it going to make in my life? Well, the inherent problems that we face sometimes are that we run into circumstances that require greater thought. We have to work through those. They require us to make ethical decisions, and decisions that sometimes, maybe in our own limited knowledge of our faith or in ethical laws, we need a little bit of help on. So by reading and examining philosophy and ethics, we start to figure out that not everything is cut and dried. It's not as easy as we think. While we quickly learn to realize that sometimes we need to go outside of ourselves and find some other information and knowledge to help us answer these questions. Let me give you an example and play along with me here. We know the fifth commandment says, "Thou shalt not kill." We also believe some things in our faith. For example, we believe life begins at conception and ends at natural death. So here's a scenario. Help me work through this one. We have a pregnant woman, and she discovers she has cancer of the uterus. And the doctors inform her that unless her uterus is removed, she's going to die. Well, obviously, if we remove the uterus, the fetus also is going to die. So we have this moral dilemma. We call this particular one the principle of double effect. The principle governs actions that might have two or more significant outcomes or effects. So what's the right decision here? If you were the doctor, if you were advising this woman ethically, what would you say to her? Tough question, truly. Well, that's why we have, courses on ethics. That's why we have, people to help us figure out what is the right course of action. St. Thomas Aquinas was one of those individuals. He tried to look at the morality of these issues. And he came up with sort of four principles that we use, especially when we have one like this, which we call the principle of double effect. How do we decide, the right from wrong in these situations? St. Thomas Aquinas, if we use this example, and I'll walk through the steps of this example, his first point was that whatever act we choose, the act itself is not evil. So let's say we remove the diseased uterus, the cancerous uterus. That in itself is not an evil act. So permissible? Yes. Aquinas would say yes, it would be. The second point is that the evil is not a means to the good. So in this case, the death of the baby is not what restores health to the woman, right? It's the removal of the cancerous uterus that restores health to the woman. So I'm hoping you're following along with me here. The third point Aquinas makes is that the evil is not intended as an end. In other words, the baby's death here is not the goal of this procedure. It wasn't the intended outcome at the very beginning. And the fourth point is there is some kind of a proportionate reasoning here to allow for the evil effect being the death of a baby. So, it is permissible to allow another person to die if that is necessary to save one's life. So, there's a proportionate reasoning here, a tough decision. However, we could look at this from a whole other perspective. We could say, let's say the woman chooses not to have a hysterectomy, not to have her uterus removed. That choice could be valid as well. Maybe she might make that decision because she wants to save her baby's life. And so let's look at that one. Well, the act itself is not evil. Absolutely not. It's not wrong in itself to refuse a medical treatment. If we look at the second point, the evil is not a means to the good. So it's not the woman's death that makes the baby able to live. In this case, she's choosing to give the baby life. Point 3, the evil is not intended as an end. So the mother's death here is not the goal or motivation behind turning down the treatment. Of course, her motivation is to have her baby live. And number 4, there's a proportionate reason for allowing this evil effect. The evil effect, of course, in this case is now the mother is going to die, but she's allowing her baby to have life. So you see, we have two decisions here. Neither one of those is wrong or right necessarily, or I should say, they could both be right given those circumstances. So, moral decisions are not always easy to make. And sometimes we need a course like this, or we need to inform our conscience, or we need outside help to help us make these really tough moral decisions. You'll find in most hospitals now on staff, there would be an ethicist. And the ethicist is there to help doctors and to help families make some of these really, really tough decisions. So just as an introduction to your readings here, I wanted to give you that scenario to help you, to think about some of those issues as you continue moving through the course.